pork, they had brisket, they had.
Voy a oprimir el botón de grabar. I just hit the record button y espero que ustedes puedan oír la lluvia en mi techo, pero
Sí.
terminó un poquito, ¿sí? Empezó a llover hace 5 minutos y llovió solamente 5 minutos. Ahora todo se acabó. It all like finished up. ¿Sí? Empezó y se acabó. Dentro de 5 minutos. It started and then it just dropped. God, ¿qué pasa? Okay. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome everybody. Bienvenidos y bienvenidos. Vamos a practicar con muchísimas cosas. We're going to practice with lots of things. I'm not quite sure how much we're going to get through tonight because I of course started to get a big feed in just in the last day or two of Halloween related videos, which were a lot of them really quite good. And one that dropped, I beg your pardon, one day ago, but I didn't get the notice of it until a half an hour ago. And it is so good. I am going to recommend that you go watch it this week because it's 30 minutes long. So we're not playing it during class. Yeah, okay. Pero vale la pena. It is worth the effort because not only does it give you this cultural end, but it gives you lots of listening input. It's not super fast, but you will need to put on subtitles, but it's not super fast. So what I do want to do is kind of, I will preview that towards the end of class, okay? Pero hoy, esta noche, vamos a practicar con el subjuntivo. We're going to practice with the subjunctive. And it became obvious from some questions that I got, and we may get one person here. Ooh, well, yeah, we may get one person later on. They're not in here yet. We may get somebody in who is just joining us brand new. I'm going to check my email just to make sure that all pertinent people got their emails. See, when I get that last minute, I didn't get my link. Then I feel guilty, culpable. No, pero no. Okay. Bueno, vamos a practicar con subjuntivo. And I thank you for sending me in questions during the week because it became obvious to me. Es obvio que o es bueno que ustedes tengan preguntas. It is good that you guys have questions. Es bueno que ustedes, sí, es muy bueno que ustedes tengan preguntas del subjuntivo. ¿El subjuntivo qué animal más raro? What a weird thing that subjunctive is. Qué cosa espantosa. What a scary thing for Halloween week that subjunctive is. And Charlie, if you haven't gotten the email, no te preocupes, don't worry about it, because we're going to do some little practice here and there with subjunctive. And it became obvious to me from your questions that a lot of you need some holes plugged in the Swiss cheese of our knowledge, because it is a difficult topic, but it's something that you hear people drop a lot. And there are some prompts, and we'll put those up on screen. So no hay ningún problema, no problem with any of that. What I am going to start with, however, is before we start our practice, I am going to put out there for your edification a very nice, super short video that dropped hace 6 horas. Se publicó hace 6 horas. This was just published 6 hours ago. Así que vamos a ver. Es un video corto, explica un montón de una manera bastante fácil el porqué, the why, el porqué del subjuntivo. So we're going to see this little bit that talks about the why of subjunctive, and he's so cute to look at, so bear with me.
Makes it worth it, yes.
Sí, vale la pena porque es tan guapo. Okay, so let's check this out first. Dura casi 5 minutos. It's almost like 5 minutes long, pero eso es todo. So I'm just going to let him put this out here, and he talks more about the why, and we'll plug in the how you make the subjunctive, and then we're going to dive into some practice, okay? It will all...
In this video, we're going to look at the subjunctive in Spanish, which is a sentence structure that helps you talk about things that you're not sure that they're going to happen, where there's some doubt, or there's an emotion involved like hope or wish or a desire that something will happen, and a few other common scenarios that you'll come across in Spanish, including certain sentence structures that are really common. The way that most people go about learning it is looking at lots and lots of conjugation tables, trying to memorize them, and really stressing out about the situations when you should or should not use them. Instead of doing that, today what we're going to do is look at a handful of examples, look at the context first, and just try to wrap our heads around the general idea of the subjunctive. So this is just a general overview. It is not an in-depth guide to everything that there is to do with the subjunctive. We're going to get a general overview just looking at the present tense. So after this, you'll be able to watch a video or listen to something in Spanish and hear the subjunctive and start to make connections in your own brain that don't have anything to do with you memorizing a million verb forms, and can just sort of start to build that intuition for yourself. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Connor. This channel is called Breakthrough Spanish, and in it, I try to help you simplify Spanish so that you can speak confidently faster. Let's take a look at a few of the different situations when you might use the subjunctive in Spanish.
Okay, and please do not take copious notes, because I'm going to send you the link to this so you can watch it again to help it sink in a second time. Sí, es un video muy breve, de 5 minutos, nada más. Okay.
The first one is to express a desire or a preference or a wish that something will happen. For example, quiero que me llames. I want you to call me. In English, we use the verb plus the infinitive. I want you to call me. In Spanish, you say literally, I want that you call me. Quiero que me llames. Or, espero que tengamos tiempo. I hope that we'll have time. Second situation is to express doubt, like dudo que sea verdad. I doubt that it's true. Dudo que sea verdad. Or no creo que venga Pablo. No creo que venga Pablo. I don't think Pablo is coming. A third situation for the subjunctive is to give advice.
And see, esto sí es importante. This is important because we actually do this a lot in English. You know, I think that you ought to. I suggest that you, I advise that you, and we probably don't say it quite as formally in English, you know, I advise you to do something, but they do that quite a lot in Spanish. I recommend, you know, we're maybe more likely to use that verb recommend. I recommend you blah, blah, blah. I recommend you call this guy. He's my go-to guy to work in your yard. Okay. So this is going to help you in that.
Es mejor que no viajes solo. It's better that you don't travel alone. Or, te aconsejo que lo pienses bien antes de tomar una decisión. I'd advise you to think it over well before making a decision. The fourth situation is one that you have almost definitely seen before, and that is with the word que plus a verb in the subjunctive, as in, que tengas un buen día. Have a good day, or que te vaya bien. Take care, have a good day. In all these situations, we have que plus a verb in the subjunctive, and that expresses a desire that something will happen. I hope that you have a good day.
Espero que, and let me back that up a little bit. Notice how he's got espero, está en paréntesis. Yeah. often people will just, I want to say blurt out or throw it out there, just the tail end of that. Que tengas un buen día. And they're really leaving off the front end, and they're leaving off the I wish, or I hope, or I want that somebody else does something. They're leaving off the espero part. When you just hear que tengas buen día, they're leaving off the I wish part. It's sort of understood without you saying it. Yeah. It's implied without you just literally saying, I hope that. Like we say, have a good day. Instead of, I hope that you have a good day. So the espero is left off because it's understood. Okay.
Hope that you have a good day. I hope that you have a good time. We also use the subjunctive with a few really common sentence structures or sentence patterns.
Let's look at a little more complex.
First one being para que, so that, para que.
And the para que is actually super, super common. So for right now, for today, I'm going to say keep the para que in your back hip pocket. We may not use it a lot tonight, but keep it in your back pocket because it's a super common thing. Para que is like saying so that. I'm telling this so that you'll know it later on, meaning you don't know it now. And that knowing it is not a part of reality right now. I'm telling you so that you'll know later on, okay? But para que is extremely, extremely common.
For example, te digo esto para que no hagas los mismos errores que yo. I'm telling you this so you don't make the same mistake.
Yeah, I'm telling you this so that you don't make the mistakes that I have made. And notice he's got a tu haces with an arrow. You can't put haces in there. I'm telling you this so that para que is one of those 100% dead giveaway. Yeah. I'm telling you this so that you won't make the same mistake. Okay. And you can't plug in haces. It's got to be hagas. Yeah. Para que has to use subjuntivo. I'm doing this, person number one. So somebody else will behave in a certain way, right? But them behaving in that way isn't a part of reality yet, which is why that second verb is a subjunctive. Now, if you think, well, this is weird and this is hard and this is difficult, you just have to get used to the pattern. It is weird and hard and difficult for an English speaker because we don't do that. And that's why it's weird and hard, because we don't do that. And we have no frame of reference that is really good for you to hang on to and say, what do I do? Okay, so if you feel weird, well, welcome to the human race of English speakers, because yes, it is weird for us. It's not at all weird for them. And you know, a lot of Spanish speakers have a hard time understanding, why is it so tough for you? I asked one of my instructors, because even going into college, it was like, this was a hard thing for me to wrap my mind around, even though I had always done really well in Spanish. And she looked at me and she said, La Cubana, my Cuban teacher, no es nada difícil. Lo usas cuando necesitas hacer algo. You use it when you need to say something. Well, thanks a heck of a lot. Like, that helped me. That made it as clear as mud. Well, when do you use it? Well, when you need to. Because to her, it was like, why are you struggling? Isn't it obvious? You don't, what she meant to say, but did not fill in the blanks. You need it when it's talking about a situation that isn't really happening right now. You want it to happen. You'd like it to happen. You're even maybe telling me, hey, you got to make this happen. but to make that happen is not going on at this time. So you need it. Okay. Bien. So let me let
Take says me. Para que no hagas. So that you don't make. The next sentence structure would be with antes de que.
And this is an
before
100%
something happens.
situation.
Tenemos que terminar antes de que sea muy tarde.
We got to
have
finish
to finish
before it gets late.
before it gets really late. This last structure would be with sin que. Sin que, as in without. Literally without that. Trata de salir temprano sin que tu jefe te vea. Try to leave early without your boss seeing you. One way that I like to think about the subjunctive is as the opposite tense. Opposite tense because with an AR verb, you'll see an E in the ending. With an ER or an IR verb, you'll see an A in the ending. So for example, with hablar, instead of tú hablas, it'll be que tú hables. Espero que hables con tu papá. I hope that you speak with your dad. Or with an IR verb like escribir, to write, it'll take an A at the end. So for example, quiero que escribas esto. I want you to write this down. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this quick introduction to the subjunctive to be...
Okay, but his use of that term or his saying that I like to think of them as opposites is really helpful because the ending is the opposite of what you expect. Okay. And it's the reason that Spanish teachers so drill into people, try to beat it into their heads, that whole thing of, well, wow, you've got to use the correct endings when you learn present tense. Because when you use the opposite ending, it actually does mean something. But yeah, so, you know, you get corrected when you first learn AR verbs. Somebody says, ooh, hablo y tú hables. And it's like, no. Well, because hables does mean something, but you got to be using it in the right context. So perfectly fine to say, ustedes hablan español. Ustedes hablan bastante bien. You speak pretty well. Ustedes hablan bastante bien el español. Okay? Ustedes hablan. It's a fact. You guys speak. But, pero, quiero que ustedes hablen uno al otro. I want that you guys speak to one another. You're not speaking yet. You will be. Quiero que ustedes hablen. I want that you guys, somebody else, not yo, it shifts from yo to ustedes. I want that you guys, and it's my desire being imposed upon you. Now, I don't know if you will speak. You may sit there and say, no quiero hablar. Yeah? Hay gran diferencia entre quiero hablar. I want to speak. I myself want to speak, in which I just pair up a quiero hablar. I want to speak. Quiero hablar. Infinitivo. Hay gran diferencia. There's a huge difference and a huge gap between quiero hablar, I myself want to do the speaking, and quiero que ustedes hablen. I want that you guys should talk. Those are two completely different worlds to the Spanish speaker. Quiero hablar, I want to do the talking. Yeah. Pero, quiero que ustedes hablen. I want that you guys should speak, and you're not speaking yet. So it's in the world of non-reality, which we have to plug in as subjunctive, okay? To them, this is perfectly natural, and why don't you English speakers understand this? But you have to practice it for it to feel right, okay? Yeah. So let's start with just, let's start with just plugging in and making sure we know how to form subjunctive first before before I throw you into the pool to swim. Throw you in the pool. No. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's just take a look. We're going to focus on this idea he said in the 5-minute video about, I like to think of it as an opposite verb, because it became obvious to me from some questions I fielded over the week when people were kind of getting ready, that just kind of getting over that one speed bump, that tope, that speed bump of just forming subjunctive is kind of an issue. Okay, so let's backstep a little bit. So here's the one thing you ought to be thinking about first when you form subjunctive. You can't go wrong if you start with yo. You can't go wrong, because that's what everything in subjunctive starts with. The subjunctive form is not necessarily that yo form, but the starting point, the starting line, if you were in a race, is knowing what the yo form in plain old present tense is, because that is what we use as our kernel to get to the correct subjunctive form. Okay, so primero tenemos que saber la forma de yo, and this is obvious, es obvio, no? This is obvious why it is important to know. We start with yo, we drop the o off the end of that yo form, and then we do what this guy says, the opposite verb. We tag on the ending that looks like it should be wrong. Okay, so for cantar, no es tan difícil, right? We start with canto, then we drop the o. Cante, cantes, cante, cantemos, cantéis, canten. Okay, vale. But here's why it's important to start with the yo. If you've got a stem change, that is going to appear in all except the nosotros, vosotros. It's going to appear in most, not all, of the subjunctive forms. Okay, puedo. We have to know that we start with puedo, and then we get rid of the o. But it's an er verb. Puedo, poder is, yeah. So instead of having puedo, puedes, puede, we have to add the ar verb endings. So it becomes pueda, puedas, pueda, podamos, podáis, puedan. Bueno, why do we go to podamos? Because that stem changing rule of outside of the boot, yeah, going back to the o still happens. Okay, so that's why we have podamos, because we don't use the ue stem change outside of the boot, meaning nosotros does not get a stem change, right? Goes back to the o of poder. All right, but for all those other forms, pueda, puedas, pueda, puedan, you base those on puedo. You just add the opposite ending of what you would think is normal. And I use poder because this is something you hear a lot. So, entonces, sí, un ejemplo. Espero que ustedes puedan entender. Espero que ustedes puedan usar el subjuntivo de manera más fácil, ¿no? Espero que, quiero que ustedes puedan practicar un poquito más esta noche. I hope you guys can practice. This verb poder winds up being used a lot because often we say, I hope you can. Yeah. I want you guys to be able to. I'm doing this so that you can, para que puedan. Yeah. Poder is used a lot in subjunctive, which is why it's in this example slide. And here's the other reason why you can't go wrong if you start with yo. Vamos a ver, venir. we've got all those oddball verbs that have a go, go, go for the yo form. Well, that's what you wind up need. You got to have it because that's what's going to pop up in the subjunctive, right? You got to know how to use venir with vengo, vengo, and then we ditch the oh, venga, vengas, venga, vengamos, vengan. All right, so all those verbs that have a go, go, go ending, like digo, like salgo, yeah, they need that. They need that. So, okay. So anytime you've got a stem change, you're going to need to know that that's there. Anytime you've got a go verb, you're going to need to know that's there. You got any other oddball thing happening in a yo form, it's going to pop up. So let's take a look at the ones that are truly considered irregular because they're not based on yo. And this is just to review, and then we'll go to some practice, and then you'll go to some practice from where I've given you prompts for the week. There are some that are irregular, and that is because we don't start with the yo form for these oddballs. That's why they're irregular. And why don't we start with the yo form? Because when you start with the yo form, you haven't got an O to drop.
Yeah.
Dar, the yo form is doy. I got no O at the end of doy to drop. Ir, boy. I got no O at the end of that to drop. Ser, soy. I got no O at the end to drop. That's why these are irregular, okay? And the way you remember them is that these verbs, dar, ir, ser, haber, estar, saber, are the acronym is dishes. Okay, so here are the ones that are irregular, but they still use the opposite vowel. That is an AR verb, but look what you got. A, right? De, des, de, demos, den. And we're skipping the vosotros because you guys don't need that in Latin America, right? Ir, we, ir, well, you got, yeah, it's an IR verb, ir, that's all you got, right? But it uses a type endings, see? Yeah, it uses a type endings. That's why it still uses opposites. Vaya, vayas, vaya, vayamos, vayan, okay? Ser, I got an ER verb, but it's sea, 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 seamos, sea, sean. Haber is kind of an odd one. The one you're going to wind up needing more often than not is haya. Okay. Espero que haya tiempo suficiente. I hope there is enough time. Right. You might hear those other forms in compound tenses, but that's getting kind of complex. So we're going to leave that part of it alone. But you might very well hear haya. Okay. To say there is, but what you're really saying is there might be. That's what you're really saying with haya. Estar is an AR verb, but we're going to use kind of endings. Okay. Este, estés, esté, estemos, estén. And saber is truly, truly, how the heck did we get to this? Who the heck knows? But it's, yeah, saber is an ER verb, but we use a kind of endings. Sepa, 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 sepamos, sepan. So para que sepas is one of those things that people just threw out. And it's like our saying, just so you know, para que sepas. Para que sepas, son las 6:30, so you know, it's 6:30. Okay, and I'm assuming you don't know. So, para que sepas, so you do know. Yeah, that's why that happens. So, now that we've looked at the oddballs, which are the dishes verb, dar, ir, ser, haber, estar, saber, and we've looked at the why you need to know, you start with yo. Let's take a look at some stuff to just dip our toes. And let's assume that we've got the first N. So I'm going to supply a first N. Mamá quiere que yo. Mom wants me to. Mom wants me to eat my breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Mamá quiere. Mom wants that I do this. I'm not doing it yet. And maybe I won't. We don't know. I'm not eating yet. Mom wants it to happen, but it isn't happening yet. So, ¿cómo se dice? Mamá quiere que yo
Desayune.
desayune. Un verbo muy regular. Really, really regular verb. Mamá quiere que yo desayune. Okay? I want Alicia to write to her godmother. Ay, no sé. Quiero que Alicia
Escriba.
escriba. We're just looking at why do these, were you looking at the fact that they use opposites before we go to the real thing where you got to produce your own language, okay? I want you to understand. Quiero que tú comprendas, right? So we started with desayuno, escribo, comprendo, right? And now, I cannot start with soy because soy doesn't end with an O that I can use. It's one of those oddballs. Sí, espero que Julio y yo seamos. Yeah. Muy difícil. Wow, this one is hard. Es difícil. Reconocer es recognize. Sí. Sí. Mi cuñada, my sister-in-law, mi cuñada quiere que yo reconozca. Wow, qué raro. Where'd that zeta come from? Vamos a pensar en esto. Let's look at that. Reconocer is based on, it will have to be conjugated like conocer. And that means conocer needs to start with the yo form of conozco. That means reconocer also starts with reconozco. Yeah. Mi cuñada espera que yo reconozca a su hijo. She hopes that I recognize her kid. Okay. A ver. Poquito difícil. This is hard, not for pronunciation, but for spelling. La maestra quiere que los alumnos, the teacher wants the students practiquen. But so practiquen gets an odd spelling. No se preocupen, don't worry about that. It gets an oddball spelling only because I can't say, it gets it because of this. I can't say this. The spelling has to change because if I were to say it the second way, it would sound like practicen. But notice I heard people saying practiquen because you know it's practicar. Yeah. So when I write it, it has to get a spelling change so that I get to that. Yeah, pronunciation. Okay. Let's look at one very common verb that people are going to use a lot. NASA espera que el astronauta vaya a la luna. NASA wants the astronaut to go to the moon. Okay, we're going to skip vosotros because you don't really need that. See?
This is the venga.
Venga.
Sí, ok. Espero que mi familia
Venga.
Vengan.
venga.
Venga.
Espero que mi familia venga el 22 de diciembre. Espero que mi familia venga el 22 de diciembre. I hope my family
Would it be venga?
comes.
Is it not plural?
Hey,
It's not they, it's not vengan or
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no es vengan. No, ¿por qué no?
Family is singular.
Familia
Ah,
singular.
It's like people,
Sí.
como gente.
Now, you might hear, I'm going to put a little caveat in here. Oh, sí, espero que vengan. I hope they come. Somebody might say that, but if we specifically inject that word, mi familia, es singular, it's singular. Venga.
And we would say that in English, my whole family is here, not my family.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, my family is here.
my family's
but-
coming. Is it? No. It's
Yeah, so you might shift from my family is coming to, well, they will be coming, you might, yeah, but we got to be plugging in the right thing. Mi familia es singular, entonces venga. I could take out mi familia and I could put in the word todos, and then I would need espero que todos vengan. Espero que todos vengan. I hope that they all come. And it's just a question of plugging in a different word instead of mi familia. Then I do need to make it plural. If I make it todos. Yeah. And this is kind of we're going to leave that because we don't really need to use sentir or mentir, lying. We're going to plug in some more obvious things. Okay. ¿Hay alguna pregunta?
Tengo una pregunta.
Sí, dime.
In one of the videos that we watched before this class, there was a sentence, no piensas que sea mejor hablar con Juan. Don't you think it would be better to talk to Juan?
Mm-hmm.
So they took the it would be and made that sea, but I'm wondering why you wouldn't take the piensas and make it pienses. If it's a negative, why don't you think, why wouldn't that be the?
Piensas que, don't you think that? That is okay. The first half of that sentence stays in plain old presente, what they call indicative. The tense everybody learns when they first learn how to conjugate.
Right, but why? Because that's the uncertainty, don't you think? It's not,
No,
you actually do.
That
think
is not-
this.
no.
It's a question, do you not think this?
okay, you're overthinking it. So here's what I'm going to tell you why. This is why you're overthinking it. When we link two things, no piensas que. Whatever comes after que, that goes into subjunctive. Whatever comes in front of que, indicativo.
Okay,
That's, yeah.
Okay, so it's the
Yeah.
K that's,
So
all right.
don't overthink it. That thing that you're mentioning, that example you're mentioning, no piensas que, it's
Mhm.
trigger. The trigger that is going to set up for, red light, you're going to need subjunctive. That stays in indicative. Sí, Esteban.
Hey, to work around that, tell me if I'm local. I am.
No,
Mi familia va a estar aquí por la Navidad, espero. That is not subjunctive
no, it isn't.
because I didn't say espero que familia vaya aquí por la Navidad.
Exacto.
So there is a
Sí.
workaround.
Sí. Well, it's a workaround, but it's kind
But
of
it's
a
not-
workaround because, okay. Do we sometimes, my family will be here. I hope. And that little, I hope, espero. Okay, it's kind of a workaround, but the fact of the matter is, the way people are going to generally say it is, I hope my family comes.
Sí,
Espero que venga mi familia. Espero que estén aquí. I hope that they
Mhm.
are here. Okay. I hope that they are here. The fact is, they're not here right now. That they are here or that they come is not a part of reality. And that's why it's got to go into subjuntivo. And that is why mi profesora cubana, that is why my Cuban professor said, well, you use it when you need it. They're not here. That's not a part of reality. Well, of course you need subjunctive. And I was like sitting there going, deer in the headlights, deer in the headlights. What do you mean? Oh my God, you just made my life hard. Yeah, but she was correct. I just had to be thinking about it a different way. Okay. She was correct. Okay. God, I hate that. Okay. So, okay. Miren, take a look at one more thing because we have somebody and probably more than one somebody who had a hard time with this one thing. Wow. Oh, don't you hate these verbs like this? Because, oh my God, it is a stem changer and it is reflexive. Oh my God, I got to put all these things together. My brain is already hurting. And here's the example this guy in the 5-minute mock-up gave as it's the dangling hangnail. Yeah. We left out the I hope or I want. Hope you have fun, but we left off the hope part. Que te diviertas. Right? Divierto is the yo form. We get rid of the o, divierto. And we add on what sounds wrong, the opposite vowel. Divertir is an IR verb. So we need a sounds at the end of it. Que te, we need that little pronoun. Que te diviertas. Or you're talking to a bunch of people, que se diviertan. Enjoy yourselves. Have fun. Have a good time. Enjoy yourselves. Que se diviertan. Okay, bien. Bien. Okay, ¿vale? Yeah, good so far?
Yeah.
Hay más preguntas. Are there more questions?
This is, I think I understand it, but if I'm just listening, I'm not seeing it written out or anything, and I hear a K, I should be like turning on little signals. Oh, maybe it's going to be in the subjunctive. It might not be. It might be something else, but is that
But you know
sort of
what,
a clue?
Patricia, this is a really good point. Sometimes it might not be, but sometimes it is.
Okay.
Oh my God. So, all right, what do I mean by that? The K is a red light, red light, red light. If I've got before that word K, if I've got one of these weirdo verbs.
Yeah, but see, that's missing when someone's talking to me. Then
Sometimes
I
it's
have to make it up. I mean, I have
okay.
to think I
Yeah.
know to insert
Yeah.
it, possibility.
And in some of those examples, if they just start with K,
That's what I meant.
que tengas buen día. But yeah, if somebody starts with K, they might be telling me to do something.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they might be telling me to listen up. They might be telling me have a good day. They might be telling me enjoy it. Yeah, you're right. So, okay. It kind of helps to know what the weirdo verbs are. And that means W, verbs of wanting, E, verbs of emotion. I'm going to tell you ahead of time, those ones are kind of tough. We're going to leave that for a different time. I, impersonal expressions, it's important that, it's good that. Those, they're impersonal because they all start with S. It's It's not assigned to a human being like I want, or they want, or they hope. It's just saying that's why it's impersonal. There's not a human being connected to that. Okay. R, verbs of recommending. Yeah. D, verbs of doubt. Those again are a little bit tricky. They're that, verbs of doubt falls into that. No piensas que. Don't you think that? Because we're planting doubt. And then that nice word, ojalá, which just exists by itself. You don't need to know anything else. It's just ojalá, hopefully. Okay, bien. So you need to have, some kind of setup. And then I got a K, and it is a red light. Now, it won't always be a red light because there are other times when we can use K with no subjunctive, but we'll leave that for another day. Okay, so here are these verbs that we were talking about. Yeah, and this weirdo is set up to help people have something to hold on to. All right. Sometimes Spanish speakers even throw out subjunctive after a word like quizás, maybe, because maybe is not super, for sure. And maybe quizás is planting that big D, doubt. Yeah, so that happens. These are just guidelines. They are to give you something to hang on to know what is that idea of a trigger. A trigger means it's setting up a situation where I don't know if a different person is actually going to do something. We have to have one human being in the weirdo verb, which is completely plain old present tense that you learned from day one. Then I need a K, and then I need the subjunctive. But these weirdo things set it up. The weirdo verbs themselves stay in plain old present tense. The weirdo verbs themselves are not in subjunctive form. They're just giving you the setup so that you use subjunctive after the word que. Okay. ¿Entienden? Understand? Sí. Okay. So I had sent these out, and if you didn't get time to work it, don't sweat it too much. But here's what we've got. I've set up some situations. These are all the triggers. An impersonal phrase. Es importante que. It's important that. It's important that somebody does something. Mis amigos quieren que. Here's somebody wanting. My friends want, and they don't want to go skating. They don't want to drive the car. They don't want to eat all my food. They want somebody else to do something. Yeah. So I need to put a different human being after this word que. El mesero recomienda que. The waiter recommends that somebody else does something. No creo que is setting up doubt. I don't think that Arizona visitors, and I already gave you the different human being here, los visitantes, sí? Talking to your husband or wife, espero que, I hope that you do something, right? Talking to a waitress, prefiero que, I prefer that, but I can't really, I don't want to use a tú here. Ooh, here I want to use a tú kind of verb, because when you're talking to your hubby, you're going to use, or your wife, el esposo, la esposa, you're going to use a tú verb, right? But here, when you're talking to the waiter, you want to keep it on a nice, polite setting. It'll probably be usted, unless they're like super, super young. Okay, maybe. Ojalá. And talk about the weather. I hope it does something, right? But remember, weather phrases often use hacer right? I hope it's cool. I hope it's hot. I hope it's cold. Yeah, something like that. Or you might be talking about a precipitation event, in which case you need a form of llover or a form of nevar. Wow. I hope you're not thinking about snow. Okay. Here's another impersonal. Es posible que. Here's one of the hardest ones for us to wrap our minds around. We're happy that. And now you need to name somebody, not nosotros. Right? We're happy that somebody else is doing something. I know this one sounds very weird, but verbs of emotion. I only plugged in one example of that. Verbs of emotion require subjunctive. And a clerk in a store talking to you. ¿Quiere usted que yo? Do you want me to do something to help you out in the store? ¿Entienden? I'm thinking you're probably going to need maybe a good 10 minutes to kind of work out some examples here. ¿Verdad? ¿Sí?
Sí, sí.
10 minutos.
Sí, yeah.
¿Sí? Okay, so now what I want you to do is kind of bring your examples, or if you didn't bring some examples, just kind of listen and maybe think about whether you can plug something in. You're going to see these examples in the window, so if you didn't print it out, no biggie, no hay ningún problema, no problem, because you're going to see these exact prompts in the window when you go into your breakout rooms. And I'm going to set you up with maybe groups of 3. Okay. Because I am very mathematically challenged, I have to figure out how many rooms I need. I need to do division. Good God.
Too old for it.
Soy anciana. Wow, I'm an old one, and my brain needs to plug in here. I'm going to move a couple things around a little bit here. It did a random thing on me here. I'm going to plug. Okay. Yeah. Bueno, okay. When I hit this button, you're going to see a join button, and you're going to hit your join button so you can practice some of these. And you're going to see the prompts when you go into your room. So if you didn't write them down, no se preocupen. Don't worry about it, because you're going to see them. No tengo mi reloj. Madre de Dios. Okay. I'm going to have to actually time this from my clock. Ellos van a practicar hasta las 7:04. Hasta las 7:04. They're going to practice until 7:04. Más o menos. Y después vamos a regresar todos juntos al salón principal, to the big room. Y vamos a comparar ideas, vamos a compartir ideas. We're going to compare ideas and share some ideas and talk about where we maybe had a problem, what went easily, what didn't go easily, and why. Y el por qué, the why. And just practice using that a bit. Que nos quedan 5 minutos. Nos quedan 5 minutos hasta que todos regresen aquí. Miro el reloj porque no tengo el mío aquí en la muñeca para verificar el número de minutos que están en breakout rooms, pero vamos a regresar dentro de poco. Voy a ver si el botón de broadcast funciona. I'm going to see if my broadcast button works to give people a warning. Aquí. Bueno, a ustedes les queda 1 minuto para terminar. You guys have 1 minute left to finish up. Y bueno, vamos a ver. Let's see what ideas people come back with. Okay. ¿Cómo les va? How's it going?
Got through
Okay.
number 3.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
de
got
verdad. Ay, lo siento. Okay.
we got hung up on the impersonal statements because it seemed like when you're making an impersonal statement, you don't have two subjects.
But you do.
I hope that you.
Well, I guess it is one and the that is something else
Es.
is another, but
There it is. Es. Es. That's it. That's the first subject.
well, we discussed that a bunch, so it used up our time.
And you know, I hate to say this, but sometimes you just have to, sometimes it's best not to overthink, to just accept impersonal. I'm serious. I don't mean that as like a, you know, a diss of anybody. Sometimes you just gotta accept, oh, impersonal phrase. Well,
That's the way it is.
yep, that's the way it is. But technically, yes, you do, because the subject is, it is. But the real reason is that quite often you should think of it, if you really want to be philosophical about it, impersonal phrases are setting up an opinion,
Mm-hmm.
which is not necessarily part of reality. Well, it's better that you do this. You may think that person's full of blankety blank.
But if you said something like, se necesitan vendedores, salespeople are needed, you've got an impersonal statement, but you're not going to use the subjunctive.
No, you don't. It doesn't start with S.
It doesn't start with S, right?
With S.
It's
Yes.
S.
Se
So S is
necesita,
somehow
it is
the-
needed.
S is the trigger.
Oh.
S with
Okay.
a valuation. It's good. It's better. It's
Oh,
possible.
you mean that's like ES. Okay, like it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
S.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I see it. Yeah, there's your first subject. It is.
You know those
It-
handouts you just had on the screen where we filled in the word? Can you send those to us or the link to those? I like doing
Sí, absolutamente, absolutely. So
Maybe
let's
that will
go
help.
back and we're going to plug in some of your ideas with this. And you'll get that in with the link too. So you'll get like, you'll get just the prompts, and then I'm going to set it up so that the last slide has the prompts with your ideas plugged in. Okay. Bien. Vamos a ver. Let's take a look. Ok. Quiero que ustedes compartan. I want you guys to share some ideas. Es importante que, and you can talk about anybody. Es importante que.
Los niños se queden seguros en Halloween.
Los niños.
Se queden.
Well, let's make it even easier. Let's make it even easier. Let's just use estar. Estén seguros.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Se queden seguros. Se queden seguros. Sí, they stay safe. That works too. But let's take it down to a super simple verb. Estar. Que estén seguros. La noche de brujas. La noche de brujas. Which night? That's you'll hear native Spanish speakers using Halloween. See, you'll hear them Noche de Brujas. You'll hear like different terms to that. Okay, otra idea, and you can pick anything off that list.
Okay. I try to make something funny. I did, no creo que los visitantes a Arizona de Francia sepan de desodorante, especialmente en el verano.
Oh, sepan que sepan que el desodorante,
Did I say that right?
que el desodorante,
Desodorante.
Deodorant? I'm like, I don't know that word, but I think that's what it is.
You got it.
es necesario, sí, es la idea general, sí, aquí, es necesario aquí, perdón, aquí, todo el verano, ¿verdad?
See?
Ok. Bien.
So
Then-
on that one, I couldn't resist using one of my favorite nouns. No creo que los visitantes a Arizona vean las serpientes de cascabeles.
Oh, vean las serpientes
Sí, de cascabeles.
de cascabeles.
Rattlesnake, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that visitors always see rattlesnakes. Sí. Sí. Bien. Es buen ejemplo. Ok. Hay otra idea que ustedes quieren compartir. Any other idea you think was a clever or good use?
I've got a question on number, and I don't know if I'm allowed to use the word tener. This is on number 2. I put mis amigos quieren que tengamos una fiesta. My friends want me to have a party.
Tengamos una
Word.
fiesta. Es posible
use-
tengamos una fiesta que demos. A lot of times, dar una fiesta is used to say like throw a party.
Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
think I could get away.
Demos una fiesta. Sí.
Okay.
Mis amigos quieren que yo los invite. Mis amigos quieren que yo los invite. They want me to invite them. Que yo los invite a una fiesta. Sí, hay muchas maneras de expresar esta idea. Sí. Mis amigos quieren que haya una fiesta.
Oh, I had that right. Oh, I
Que
did that
hay
right.
una fiesta. They want there to be a party.
Oh.
Sí, hay muchas maneras de decir eso. Sí, qué buena idea. Ok. Otras ideas. I want you to throw out some other ideas with these.
Number 6.
Number 6.
prefiero que la sopa no sea demasiado salada.
Ah, okay, we could take out the usted. Sí, prefiero que la sopa no, no sea,
Nos,
sí, or maybe esté, because it's in that state. Sí, muy salada. That the soup isn't like super salty.
Very salty.
Sí.
Yeah.
Right.
Or no, que la sopa no esté muy caliente. I don't want it to be like super hot. Yeah, sí, sí. Algo así, something out there like that. Sí, es buena idea, yeah. Because you're talking about the food to be a certain way. Sí, eso es.
Right.
Okay.
On that one, I put prefiero que usted traiga un vaso de agua sin hilo.
Que traiga. Y aún mejor, even better, que me traiga
Oh,
un vaso de agua.
I didn't do that. Okay.
Prefiero que me traiga un vaso de agua, por favor, ¿no?
sí.
Eso es, qué buena idea. Sí, me gusta mucho. I like that a lot. Okay.
Número 4. No creo que los visitantes a Arizona deban caminar sobre las montañas cuando hace mucho calor.
Sí. Que
Would
no
deban be appropriate? I don't think they should.
deban, sí. That they should. Que deban caminar en las montañas. Sí. Cuando hace calor. Cuando haga calor, if you're not sure it's going to be hot yet, but sometimes we're talking about the fact that it actually is hot, right? Sí. Eso es, sí, sí, sí. Okay, bueno, hay otras ideas. I thought you guys were going to go for this one. What do you tell your better
Oh,
half?
I did that one.
Oh, vamos. Espero que tú.
Pero que me escuches.
Espero. Ay, sí. Que me
idea.
escuches. Ay, sí, que. Espero que me escuches. Espero que.
espero que tú recuerdes sacar la basura.
Que recuerdes sacar la basura.
Esta noche.
You remember to take out the
Trash.
trash.
Ah.
Ay, sí. Bueno, ok, sí. Muy bien.
Ofrece algo agradable para ti misma.
Que espero que compres. You buy?
Sí. Yeah, you buy algo, something agradable, nice para ti misma. For
Sí,
yourself.
sí.
Oh, that's
Sí.
nice.
Sí, ay, sí. And we can even do that with te compres. You buy yourself.
Sí.
Y para ti mismo, sí, for yourself. Sí, sí. Qué generoso eres tú. Wow.
Sí.
Sí. Soy,
Pero ya
soy pobre.
Pero ya sabíamos, but we already knew that. Ok. Bien. Exacto. Ok. Hay otras ideas.
No.
¿No? ¿Sí?
I have a question on one.
Bien. Ok.
I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm not sure how to say it. It's for ojalá que nieve mucho y las escuelas estén cerradas.
Ojalá que, this is what we used to think when we were little kids back in the Midwest.
Definitely, that's what
Ojalá que nieve mucho
No.
y que las escuelas, pues, ok, hay varias maneras de expresar. Cierren, and the schools close.
Okay.
Las escuelas se cierren, they get closed. que estén cerradas, that they are closed, estén cerradas, sí, pero cierren, sí, que las escuelas cierren. Okay.
have
I see.
my
No
question.
day.
My question too is after hearing about the parakeet, could you take out the and, the E and put parakeet? That's what we really wanted. We hope that
¿Qué?
it's snowed a lot, so that
Ah.
the school's closed. Could you
¿Qué?
use that there or not?
Que lista eres tú. Wow, how smart you are. ¿Para qué? ¿Para
Didn't
qué?
think about
But
that
now,
a while ago.
I'm gonna show you
Yeah.
something that generally happens when people do that. Sí, tienes razón. Para que cierren las escuelas. Generally, what winds up happening is that we flip the las escuelas to the back. I cannot tell you why that happens, but it is the way people, yeah, the word order. Chris.
Wow.
Ojalá que nieve
So hard.
mucho para que cierren las escuelas. Generally, when that happens and you're tagging on an extra idea, qué buena idea. What happens is there's a little word order thing that usually flips there a little bit. But está bien, está bien, está bien. Muy bien. Qué buena idea. ¿Para qué? Absolutamente. Sí, se puede hacer. You can do that. You can do that. Okay. Qué buenos ejemplos. Hay más. Are there any more?
A question again with the weather. If you're going to use hacer, you wouldn't use hace, or would you use
No.
haga?
You would
Then
use haga.
Because it's subjunctive.
You would use haga. Okay. So, okay. Lo más común aquí, por ejemplo, sería muy normal. It would be very normal. Sería muy normal oír aquí en Arizona algo así. Ojalá que haga fresco.
Oh.
Hopefully it is cool weather.
Hmm.
Ojalá que no haga calor.
Hmm.
Hopefully it's not hot. See? Algo así, something like that. Sí, haga. Because ojalá que that weather has not yet come. It's like we're talking about like tomorrow or, someday in the future, right? And that's not what the weather is doing right now. Yeah. So that's why it has to go into haga, because that day has not yet arrived. Maybe you're talking about the weekend. Maybe you're talking about 5 hours from now. Maybe you're talking about tomorrow. And we don't know. That weather is not a part of reality yet. Okay. And that is why it has to go into haga. Or nieve. Or llueva. Or, yeah. Or ojalá que esté nublado. Hopefully it is cloudy. Ojalá que esté nublado. Hopefully it's cloudy, but it's not tomorrow. So I don't know if the clouds are going to be there or not. And that's why it's got to flip into that subjuntivo, that subjunctive. See? Okay. ¿Es un poquito mejor o no? Is it
Sí.
still like a total like
Little
jigsaw
better.
puzzle?
I don't know how to remember it all. I understand it. I
Okay.
just don't know how to remember it all. I don't know how to study. I don't know if I should do flashcards for the and I have papers everywhere here, like.
Okay. Okay. Eso es normal. That's normal. What I think I'm going to include as a little, and I'll send you a new file, so this won't go out until the email tomorrow. I'm going to plug in some para qué ideas, because it's a good one to use. And I'll set it up and you'll plug in something. So, okay, here is a suggestion. I'm going to give you something. Uy, ¿dónde está? Momentito. Aquí. I will send you as something that may be helpful, one of these websites so that, yeah. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to look at the same website that we did together. But
Mhm.
notice I got all kinds of stuff down here, right?
Right.
And just set it up with mom wants the kids, or I want, or she, you want your daughter, you know. Imagine there's a setup in the beginning. So
Mhm.
just practice your subjunctive forms here. And then when you get to the bottom, hit correct. And it'll show you if you've got those
Right.
subjunctive forms set up
Mhm.
correctly. You know, skip anything with vosotros because, you know, you're not going to use it here, right? And I don't even think there are very many examples with vosotros anyway. But yeah, I'll give you this page and tell you, hey, just practice some regular forms.
So for the reflexive verbs, how do you do?
Reflexive verbs will be like every other verb. You just have a little pronoun in front. A me, if it's yo.
In front, then so you move that in front
front
and
of the
then
verb.
use the O form of the, okay,
Yeah, yeah. A
okay.
te, a se, a
Mhm.
nos,
See.
right?
Mhm.
Mom wants us to sit down. Mamá quiere que nos sentemos aquí.
Mhm.
Quiere que nos sentemos.
Okay.
Mom wants the kids to sit down. Mamá quiere que los hijos se sienten. Se sienten. Not se sientan, because they haven't put their little tushies in the seat yet. And she wants those kids to sit. Que se sienten. Okay, they haven't done the sitting down yet. She would like that to happen. But as we know, our children don't do what we tell them to do all the time. Okay. So, okay, bien. I'll give you a little something to just kind of work your brain a little bit, because, you know, that is a piece of the puzzle. It is, for those of us who are English speakers, a piece of the puzzle for sure. And I want to set up some things I would like you to do for the weekend. I'm looking for what I think we're going to see. Those apuntes. I got too many notes here. I'm going to have, because I have changed my plan ever so slightly about in the last half hour, so that's part of the problem. I have a story video for you to listen to. And I'm trying to figure out where is that, because I think it has subjunctive, but I gotta figure out where that is. Well, I will figure that out. Oh, yes, sí, aquí, okay. Aquí. Because he talks about Coco. It's that wonderful movie about Dia de Muertos, no? Dia de Muertos. So here is your slow and easy to understand, because they put the subtitles in. Here is your listening comprehension video. He is going to talk about the plot of Coco, Journey to the Afterworld. And Coco is, if you've never heard of Coco, for those of you who haven't, check out, I think it's on Disney Plus. Check out Coco and put it into Spanish subtitles and Spanish audio, and see this very good and really kind of faithful to the meaning of Dia de Muertos, that holiday, Day of the Dead, for those who grew up in Mexico. But I want you to listen now. You know, people only use subjunctive when they need to. So you're going to listen. I think there are 2 or 3 places in this 9-minute video where he uses subjunctive. So I want you to be listening for that. And I think they're kind of planted at the end. Para que sepan, just so you know, because you don't know going into it. Yeah, para que sepan. I want you to listen. Everything will not be subjunctive, because it isn't necessary everywhere. So you have to listen for where he sets that up. So that's going to be just your listening comprehension, storytelling for fun video. Okay. And he is going to speak deliberately pretty slowly. Now, there is yet another video, and this just came online. I kid you not. I had everything. I got all kinds of notifications that came up really late in the game, which is why my brain is so muddled. I am going to send this out to you guys. This is also a really, really excellent listening comprehension video, but I am going to warn you ahead of time. It is 32 minutes. Now, I'm going to tell you, I think he speaks pretty slowly.
You're
Okay.
That doesn't mean it.
I do think he speaks pretty slowly, but I do recognize that most of you probably should hit this magic button that says CC at the bottom. And I think if you hit the CC button and listen, you're going to get the gist. Now, here's the other caveat with this. The reason I want you guys to see this is because it shows you wonderful artwork connected with this holiday. It shows you the Catrinas. This is from Michoacan, which is kind of straight west of Mexico City. They show you all kinds of artesanías because this session, I want to get into some videos eventually that talk about vocabulary we can use to talk about art and artwork of various types, not just painting, but various types of artwork. So it's a great cultural video, and it shows what it looks like when you walk through an area that does celebrate Dia de Muertos. And I don't, for God's sake, want you to try to analyze every bit of this video. I want you to let it wash over you and get the gist, not understand every single word. Some of you actually will be able to understand pretty much every single word, but it probably won't be all of you. So if you start to feel overwhelmed, don't worry about that. Just go for the visuals, okay? Prométanme, promise me. Do not sit and try to overanalyze and go through everything. But this is going to set you up too for talking about and like learning in the next couple of sessions some art vocabulary as well. Okay, so there is a method to the madness. So watch it. Do not try to analyze every bit of it. Do turn on the closed captions. And you know what? You are going to get the gist. You will probably understand the main idea, if not every single sentence. It's okay. Of about 60% of it. Maybe more. Some of you will understand more of it. But it is a fabulous, fabulous, just released yesterday video, which is why I didn't have time to like set up a lot for it. But I do want you to check that out. And, además, besides that, quiero mostrarles, I also want to show you guys. ¿Dónde están? Aquí tenemos fotos. Aquí tenemos fotos. Here we got some wonderful photos. Sí, fotos de la celebración en el jardín aquí en Phoenix. Gracias, gracias, gracias. Gracias, Juanita. And if you need a great laugh, how many of you remember Monty Python? The
Yeah,
bring
I
out your
did,
dead
yeah.
comment. Ay, la gorra. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I love that cab, Fred. Federico is
He
La
was the
gorra.
hit. He was the hit at the altar. Some girls
Sí.
came up and took their picture with him.
I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet. Okay, go back sometime, watch Monty Python. I know it's kind of sacrilegious. It's just too funny. It is. Okay. Y a los altares. So this is sort of the rendering that we in Phoenix get to see of what an altar would look like. But you see the papel picado, that perforated paper that has little designs in it. And so this was a setup at Desert Botanical, and these were really nice photos. Gracias, Juanita. And they did some dance numbers as well. and some folks in indigenous costumes, because really that indigenous component of Dia de Muertos is so important. It is so much part of the culture. It is really a mixture of the two cultures. Also, one caveat in the long video, you're gonna hear a term, cempasúchil, cempasúchil. And cempasúchil, let that word wash over you, cempasúchil, cempasúchil. Cempasúchil is basically marigold. So you're going to hear that word repeated a bunch of times. And when you hear it, I'm going to show you one little thing here. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? Where's the best thing I can use to show you cempasúchil? A ver, momentito. Okay. A ver, uy. Casi. Casi. Almost. Okay. Well, this is the best I can do with just a little time. Cempasúchil. All this little orange stuff here, which winds up being littered all over the floor in a lot of these. All of those little petals come from cempasúchil, the marigold flower, which is really, cempasúchil is the indigenous term for that type of flower, which is very much akin to the marigold flower that we would know about. And it is the traditional flower, and the aroma of that flower is what is said to beckon to the spirit of our beloved departed. The aroma is supposed to beckon them. People leave little trails through, and notice when you watch that video, you're going to see some streets where you see literally a trail of just a single trail of cempasúchil, those little petals, because the candles and the aroma of that flower is what is supposed to draw the spirit of your loved ones into your house so that they can see, you remembered me. Gracias, familia. Thank you, family. Yeah. And okay, so it's the spirit of that. Bien, todo bien? And I'll send you some prompts, especially with some para qué stuff thrown in there, because that's really useful. Es útil. And we'll dive into that a little more. Okay. ¿Hay alguna otra pregunta o no? Any other kind of question before we leave or no? No? We'll try to give you some prompts for practicing that a little more next week with some other ideas. Okay? ¿Todo bien? ¿Todo bien?
Gracias.
De nada, de nada.
Gracias.
Okay. And I'll send you all your prompts tomorrow, mañana.